Hi, everybody. It's Ian Fischer at C-Prompt Games. I'm here with my partner, Rob.
Hello, I'm Rob Fermier, also from C-Prompt Games.
We're going to play a little bit of the Millennia demo today. We're going to try to remember. A lot of things have changed since we actually put the demo build out there, so we're going to be playing with some stuff that's a couple iterations older than what we have out there now. We'll see if Rob and I can remember how everything works in the demo version of the game. I'm going to get it set with a custom setup to begin with. The demo's only 60 turns, so one of the things that we're gonna run through here, we've had some questions about, and I know there's been a little bit of confusion because we've seen from some of the player feed about expectations on cultures, and kind of as people come in and start playing nations in that game, the vision that we have for this in Millennia is not really that there's kind of these pre-designed nations that you get that have bonuses attached to them already. What we really wanted to do is make it so that you design the nation that you want to be as you go. So there aren't really, we have some defaults, and we'll assign kind of starting bonuses to the nations in this menu, but you can easily change those to whatever you like. They're not necessarily associated directly with the nations that are going to be in the game.
Yeah, and these starting bonuses are just small bonuses that help distinguish the starts a little bit. You can lean into certain strategies with them one way or another. They give you a few more pieces to experiment with early on, but they don't really define the whole course of your development. They're just kind of some tweaks around how you want to get your starting build going, really. Scout unit's a good one to start with. That's a popular one. That I think starting production is my favorite, I would say. But depends on what we want to do with our strategy.
Yeah, we can talk strategies. We're going a little bit. I think Scout is what I'm thinking about for what we're going to do here. Well, maybe we'll tune this up a little bit just to get these guys a little bit more juice.
All right, we're going to lose in the demo.
Yeah. No, that'll be good. All right. We'll play on continents, medium. All right, here we go.
So yeah, as we go through the game here, we're just going to be talking a little bit about some of the game mechanics in the game, try to explain sort of a little bit about what you're seeing and just about how some of these pieces work. So to kick things off, here we are looking at our start, kind of a familiar start for a lot of these 4X games. The main thing you'll see here in the middle is you've got a region. This is basically the primary economic gameplay sort of unit in the game. You can see we've got Munich here. If you zoom in a little bit, Ian, you can see that it's got a couple different terrain pieces around it. We have a bunch of different terrains. I don't know, do you want to talk about the economics now, or do you want to just get into some turns and talk about it as we go?
I think we probably talk as we go. Get a little bit. I'll start scouting a little bit here. You start off. This is the scout that we got from the bonus, right? So he's in town. Yep. You start off with 2 groups of war bands. That right away, different people handle this differently. Some people leave one around for defense. Some people scout with both of them. I don't know, Rob, what you were thinking about for the strategy, but given that this build still has the unadulterated national spirit for Raiders in it.
Yeah, that's always a fun one.
I was thinking about going for Raiders and then trying for blood. So if the scout and getting some extra visibility on who your neighbors are, and if you're lucky, then finding any kind of barbarian camps or miners or any of that kind of thing is always valuable for being able to push that strategy. So that'll leave us a little open. We're not all that. Early on, you still have some defenses with militia in your town, so you can take the risk. Really, until unrest starts to become a thing with population, then you kind of
you're skipping ahead a lot of topics. I don't think we've covered the basics here yet. So you see,
so on turn 1,
technology. Are you gonna do?
You want to do tech? Yeah, we can do tech first. That's fine. Or actually, we could just walk through what the next wants us to.
We're horrible at doing this.
This is all well scripted. We've definitely practiced this a lot, and
so here on the tech screen, you can see this is sort of tech tree for our game. You don't have to go through the tech tree in quite the same linear format that you might be used to in some other games. So you can see there at the bottom, you only need to research 3 of 5 technologies to advance to the next age. So you can pick which of the three you want to get. You could get all five, but usually, particularly for the early ages, you want to pick the ones that you care about so that you can be aging up. Now, ages are one of the sort of core concepts in the game. They are these buckets of technologies. You can see we're currently in the Age of Stone, and then off to the right is the Age of Bronze. Once we've developed enough technology, we'll be able to get into the Age of Bronze, and that will unlock a new set of technologies, but also a new set of gameplay rules. So each of these ages comes with some fundamental gameplay rules that kind of change things up. When you're early on, you really don't have a lot of choices. The Age of Stone and the Age of Bronze are always part of the fixed timeline. But as you get past the Age of Bronze, you start to get into variant ages, and we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get into the Age of Bronze. But which sets of ages you have here in the game will be different pretty much every game. So that really provides a very different kind of tools, different toys in the toy box for you to play with each game. So here, back to this tech tree. What do you think, Ian? I usually play a very peaceful game, so this warmongery blood stuff is not going to be my forte. So I usually get tribal elders or farming, but seems like we're probably going to want scouting and defenses, I'm guessing.
Let's do farming, because it is kind of getting food and meeting the first need on with farms is kind of it's a good talking point too. So we can start there, and I can make the other stuff work on my bloodthirsty rampage. So we'll start in on farming. You can see we have 6 turns right now before we're going to be able to complete that. So farming's in place. That region that Rob was talking about, Munich, we can build things there. That's idle. So we'll go in and take a look at our choices there. You can see that what I was just talking about with farming, that'll be unlocked. The food stockpile will be unlocked. We have buildings and units that can be built within the region. These are capital buildings, this set of structures. Cap buildings are built actually in the region, the center of the region. We build other buildings. We'll get around to building improvements in the other tiles around your region. But these are all contained inside. They don't need workers. They just kind of improve the region itself. So I don't know. We have a scout already. I don't think we have to do the scout there. We're not quite. There's some other ways for us to get other units. So I think the thing that probably makes the most sense. I'm not worried about being attacked. So I think the thing that makes the most sense is probably to go for the government points on a town center.
Either town center or another unit. The thing is, if you do well, I guess we'll see what our production is. If you do the town center and you want to switch to food stockpile, we'll have research farming before the town center pops. But that's fine. I think town center, that's usually my go-to.
We might want to. We might want a dolmen to be able to pop the borders, so we have other things that we can build in. But we already have a place where we can.
We're being aggressive. I don't know that we need the dolmen. So if you hover over the town center real quick, you can see that it gives, the thing the town center is going to give us, the reason we want to build it is it gives us 1 government XP. You might be saying, what is government XP? Well, we can go back out to the main screen, and you can see there on the left, you have domains. Now, domains are a core concept in the game. Basically, they abstract a lot of different kinds of development, style development. There are 6 domains in the game that you unlock progressively over the first few ages. So you start out with government, and that's used for a number of things, but basically all the domains have 2 primary uses. You can use them for domain powers, so if you click on the government power, or you can use them, you could not click what I said, and you can click on you can use them for ideal upgrades.
I'm going to jump back and forth as you're talking and try to click on the things that...
Yeah, you can do the opposite of what I say every time. That's good. So here you can see we can use our government points to spawn a settler. That's pretty important. Every 4X strategy game player knows you need to get out there and constantly be expanding. So here we're pretty far away from the 30 government XP, but you can see how it's valuable. You want it for that. Over time we'll unlock a lot of other abilities we can do with our government points, such as spawning a tribal army, which is maybe what we're going to want to do here as part of our Blood Age push. So if you go into the tribal government, you can see that you can also spend your domain XP points on these individual trees. So your government, in this case, it's one for our tribal government. It's got a handful of very useful upgrades. Each of the governments has its own sort of little mini tech tree. We'll also talk about national spirits. They have the same thing a little bit later on. So here we don't have any points yet. But we're building that so that we can start getting some government XP upgrades and spend it here in a little bit. So
yeah, we can talk about some other stuff with the government
Yeah.
here in a minute as we get a little bit further along. Okay, I feel like we should do something else, but it is turn 1, so
yeah, let's go at least to turn 2 here. When we get some population up, we can talk about
it'll be like
some of the other
7 hours to get to 60
things.
turns.
Yeah.
All right, so at the start, we're gonna walk through all the units that we have down again, and I am just kind of scouting with these guys.
Hey, look, it
Tribal
is
camp.
a tribal.
We'll be able to get the tribal
One of
camp
these,
with them.
and though when you encounter those tribal camps, you can basically just walk on them to get a reward for bringing them into your empire. We'll show you that in a second.
So this is one of the reasons why going after scouting early on, you can invest pretty heavily on scouting and make a scouting start strategy. If you go after, we haven't seen a landmark out here yet, but if you go after landmarks and the tribal camps with a lot of scouts, you can end up doing some good things. We do have culture charging up. We'll get to that. We have government points coming in. We have things that are being built. We are researching something. So early on, we're mostly just kind of exploring the world and looking around and figuring out what the next steps of our strategy are going to be.
Yeah, and we intentionally made sure that the first couple of turns were as familiar as possible to people who played other 4X games, so we could kind of ease you in. We steadily introduced a lot of new mechanics you'll see even just over the 60 turns of the demo, but also throughout the entire game. We're basically kind of each age is always introducing new mechanics for you to play with.
All right, I'm going to take scout.
All right.
So this is fairly common of a lot of the of kind of the encounters that we have built into the game. You get a little bit of a decision about what you want to do, how you want to handle this, that allows you to tweak your strategy a little bit because you get to pick essentially how this is going to work. Some of these become more difficult than others, and there's a little bit of a trade-off in some of them later on. But a lot of the early ones in the initial age are pretty direct. So this event is
I think probably the improvement points. Knowledge is always good, but in this case,
Yeah,
I think
I definitely want
if
the
we get some improvement points, we can get that. We can get a hunting camp up on that elk that we have right there,
and we can start to get some war XP from that. I'll spend my last move there. We run into our friends, the barbarians.
So you can see we spotted a barbarian. So the barbarians are sort of a neutral player, neutral in the sense of they don't build empires the same way you and the other capital P players do, but they are far from neutral when it comes to their hostility. They will generally attack you on sight. They are often very willing to throw away their units just to damage you a little bit. And they will build up in areas. If you leave them alone, over time they will build up new camps, and those camps spawn new units. And so it's always early on, in particular, you've got a lot to decide how you want to deal with the barbarians. Do you want to build up some defenses and just wait for them to come to you? Do you want to put together an army and try to clean them out? If you can clean them out entirely from an area, then that can definitely reduce the speed of them respawning. So, but here our scout, I don't think is threatened this turn by that guy, but I guess we'll see.
No, he'll be fine this one. But and scouts have a couple abilities when you can use them that help them to survive against attacks if they plus just the speed should be able to get away from them. But yeah, barbarians, particularly for the strategy that we're going to try here, if we end up pulling this off, barbarians are really a resource, and we'll for us in this strategy, they are kind of a resource. So we're happy to see them, and we'll talk about why in a second. I'm just going to move the other guys around. They are a little bit difficult early in the game, and we have another tribal camp there. They are a little bit difficult to take out their. You want to kind of find their bases early in the game. You don't really want to try attacking them directly. Until you have a little.
You're certainly not going to take them out with a single scout or a single warband.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that more in a bit when we get to combat. But basically, you individual units are not really where it's at in this game. You want to combine your units into armies, and then those armies are much more effective than the individual units.
Yeah, we've only split up the units that we're exploring with right now because we're exploring, so we can cover more territory there. But this isn't how you normally want to fight. Well, we're going to get war XP anyway. Government XP probably to yeah, let's do government XP because then we can go back and.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we can buy our first upgrade here.
So 10 government XP gives us the ability to go in. I think there's 6. Yeah. So our first choice is inside of the tribal government, the starting government right now for everyone in the First Age and the Stone Age is a tribal government, and these are the ideals of the tribal government. So I do have the ability right now to do raise tribal army. I think we have 14, yeah, so I could actually do both of these if I wanted to. Or to increase food production, get tribal farming going, which will give me an extra food at our region. I am going to go with that, I think.
Yeah, I usually try to get the food upgrade, but then again, I don't usually play nearly as offensively as you. So
the reason I want the
Tribal Army's
food,
pretty good for converting your government.
the reason I want the food instead of the tribal army is pretty good for some rush strategies, or if you screw up and you get attacked at a time when you don't,
Right.
when you're not ready for it, you can use the tribal army to defend yourself. But for what we're gonna do, I want to rely on some other things to be able to handle that. And
Right. Yeah, I think the food upgrade's a good one to get. So, which gives us a chance to talk about what do you want food for? So, if you go look at Munich again here, you can see in that top center there's needs. So needs are a fundamental concept of the economy here in Millennia. They govern your growth. So you can see that Munich is growing at a pretty fair clip here. Right now, yeah, you can see whether or not he assigns that. So if you hover over it again, you can see that you need 2 food baseline. So actually, if you hover over the need,
yeah,
you can see So you need 2 food baseline per population. If you don't provide that, then you aren't meeting the need sufficiently, and your city will start to have some penalties. But up to 200%, you can juice your growth. So there's no point in getting your need can't go above 200%. So that 5th food isn't really doing anything for us right now. So which means that you should be able to safely reassign this worker from the grasslands, generating 2 food, to the deep forest, which will generate a food and a production. We're still maintaining that 200% need. Now, food is only the first need in the game. As you progress through the ages and as your regions get larger, you will develop more needs. So, for example, when we first hit 6 population, which hopefully we will in this demo, you'll see a need for housing. And then after that, sanitation, and then after that, education, and they build all the way through the game. So managing all the needs of a very large late game region can be pretty challenging. There's a lot of competing demands, but it's the average of the needs. So you get a little bit of slop there, in that if you're meeting one need at 200 and another need at only 100, you're still probably making some pretty good growth, even though you're only barely meeting the 100 need. So the extra needs sometimes make it more challenging, but often they let you kind of just keep up a high growth rate.
Yeah, the more power players here want to try to keep that at 200% the entire time. It's very difficult to do, and in fact, I think it's having some conversations about that recently. It's gotten to the point where it's not worth it to keep it at 200. Really, if you do some of the work on it, because it becomes very difficult to do it. It's just not worth the effort to later in the game in most cases. But you do want to keep an eye on it not going negative. Right. Bad things happen
exactly.
When it goes negative.
If you're not meeting the needs, if you fall below 100%, your population will start to shrink. You'll eventually lose population, and also a number of other bad things will happen to your city. So I don't think that'll happen to us in the demo, but when you're playing the demo yourselves, definitely watch out for that.
Pay attention. Alrighty. And we do have a landmark there, huh?
Yeah. So we're probably not going to go too crazy for landmarks. Landmarks, if we were going to go for what's called the Age of Heroes, which is another Age 3 variant, then we would need landmarks, because landmark discovery is sort of the triggering condition for that. But even without that, they can be a nice little source of extra XP for your scouts. You need to send a scout to go first discover a landmark, to sort of give it a name and not have it be undiscovered. Only one player can do that, so the first player who gets to it gets to kind of scratch that off and get the rewards for taking that. You want to bring that scout all the way down?
Yeah.
Actually, we should probably watch this combat.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the first one with the scout.
All right. So here's the little combat viewer. This is basically a replay of what happened in the combat. So you can see the combat log down there, who's doing damage to whom. This is a very simple combat. They get a lot more complicated. but you can just sort of watch it and get a sense of what's going on. You can look at the numbers, get a sense of why the damage is going the way it is. But you don't have to watch these. There's no choices you make in them. The sort of fate of the combat is already determined by the unit composition, terrain, and other decisions that you make before the combat begins.
Yeah,
so the combat viewer is a way for you to see the results of your choices and kind of get in and out pretty quickly. We didn't want a combat system that was going to draw you away from the 4X strategy and kind of move your mind into a different place. We wanted you to kind of see these combats, evaluate them, and get right back to the high-level strategy building.
Yeah, it's like, as Rob's saying, it's really a visualization of combat, so that specifically what's happening between your units and how an army, and you'll see that when we get to some combats that have multiple units in an army, how your army is performing against other units and how you might want to tune things, or what's beating you or what's being effective in the fighting. But yeah, we just didn't, we called it inline combat when we first started talking about it, because your head is should be in the strategy space of this. We don't want to take you out and have you play a tactical war game and then pop back into the strategy game and where was I? What was I doing? What was important? So first and foremost, we're a strategy 4X, and it has combat, but we want you making the choices with how you put the armies together and where you put them.
Yeah, and so the combat viewer is often a good way for you to make sure that your strategy is working the way you expect, that the kind of individual unit bonuses are working like to your advantage and not to your disadvantage. Like if you hover over the scout, you can see that they don't really have a lot of combat bonuses one way or another. They're a very simple unit. But if you hover over a warband, I believe that's a
warband, sure.
Yeah.
They had a fight too.
They also got a fight. So sure, we can watch the other fight.
Yeah, you want to watch that?
Yeah. I was just gonna, because you should be able to see it from here as well. If you hover over the warband in here while those guys are fighting, you can see that they get a bonus versus cavalry, right? So there's a basic kind of rock, paper, scissors among the core unit types in the game. So you want to make sure you punish other players if they go too deep in one line, but you also want to make sure that you're building the units that aren't going to get punished too badly by what your opponents have got on the field. There's also, we'll hopefully see this in a little bit, but there's also some sort of tactics to army composition, because each of the different types of units has some different rules about what units they can target. So for example, as long as there are line units like that warband in the combat, they have to be targeted first. So if I've got a warband and an archer, the warband is going to soak hits for the fragile archer as long as he's still standing.
I'm gonna. I think I have this on the speed of those on low. I'm gonna turn up I'm gonna turn up the battle speed a little bit. Where am I at? Yeah, they're actually. I was doing testing on
this. Yeah, you have it. I think the default is 1.2.
It's 1.2. So. I'm gonna turn up the.
But when you're playing the demo, feel free to set this to whatever you like.
I'll leave it at 1.2. I'll leave it at default. I just don't want it at the 0.7 we were using for testing.
So I've seen some people have a few questions about those numbers, the 14, 15. That's the strength of the army. When we start stacking armies, you'll see those numbers go up a little bit, but it's nothing too mysterious. It's just the attack and the defense added of all the units in the army. But it gives you a quick glance.
It's definitely a thumbnail view, right? It's really just to give you a rough idea of what it is. Because there are definitely some armies, different compositions that will have numbers that are similar, but will perform very, very differently. But it does really help when you're trying to figure out what's going on on the map at the time.
All right, so we should probably bring this guy home to heal a little bit.
We could do that, but I think we're going to take our chances, because I think you can use the speed and
get down there to that.
Yeah, but what we were talking about before, and what Rob was talking about, these scouts have a special ability that works on. We've gotten some exploration points now, some exploration domain, which I guess was probably from spotting that in the first place. So we have some exploration domain points, and those can be used on the scout. So the scout can regroup, which allows them to pop back to their nearest capital. So if I was really worried about him there and I wanted him to come back, I could spend those points and I could have him pop back to Munich without taking damage. Or what's it, survivalist? Yeah. So 5, he would heal. He'd be able to heal in place. In fact, let's just use those just to illustrate.
Survivalist at least, yeah, for
Survivalist.
sure.
Right.
So yeah,
now I spent those.
the power that lets you come back home is useful for a tactical retreat, but also one of the reasons we added it is when we played the game a lot, we found it was fun to go exploring off, send your scouts way off into the unknown. But then when they discovered what was there, you had to spend like another 20, 30 turns just walking them back. So we're like, well, why don't we just let them teleport back? So that's why we added that power.
We have 10 here now, but
so
I think it's 20 before we get to the next tier. 2014 before the next tier. All right, for those.
So yeah, we added 2 new domain types, as you can see. Basically the age 1 domains now, we have all 3 of them: government, exploration, and warfare. We talked about government a little bit before. It's sort of an abstraction of your sort of civic awareness and reform level of your government, that sort of thing. Exploration represents a lot of things. It's sort of a science-oriented domain as well as literal map exploration. Towards the end of the game, this goes into more exploring, going on expeditions and eventually space exploration. But it's often useful. Exploration powers tend to be focused on a lot of knowledge gaining, which can be quite useful. But it represents sort of abstractly your nation's awareness of the territory around them, their curiosity, their scientific inquisitiveness, etc. And then finally, we have warfare, which represents, not just their practical military experience, but also sort of an abstraction of their materiel and, their warfare tradition, and as well as sort of more literal fighting practices. So basically, exploration and warfare are a little unique among the domains in that you can get them more organically just from the way you play. So we got some exploration just for finding those landmarks. You get warfare just for having combats. The more advanced domains, you generally have to specifically seek out. You have to build buildings that will generate them. All right, sorry. Go on to the next thing here. So, what do you want to do here?
I think we move into the trees and let him come to us, because barbarians tend to take bad fights, and that'll let us weather this unless he has buddies behind him.
Yeah, that's good. Because one of the reasons we want to take fights with these guys is because units build experience. If you go back and select that guy and hover over his army card, you'll see, so he's got unit XP 2 out of 10 there. When you get an XP level, it just gives you basically a 10% buff across all of your stats, and it lets you promote to a leader, and we'll talk about that hopefully when we get a chance later on.
We'll move him there. And I'm going to leave, because of my past, I'm going to leave this right there, because I know that if I move this warband out of that position, a AI scout will step in here and discover.
I think we're probably on the southern tip of the continent. I can see some ice over there, and that's some tundra, so I think we're pretty safe. But I want to be careful. You're probably right. You're probably right. Better safe than sorry.
Right, that's in the woods. Nope, I was wrong.
Oh, that's a different warband who.
We can still. We're all right. We'll still outrun them. So I'm just gonna. We have some cool things that are going on this turn, but I'm gonna do that real quick. I'm just gonna move him here, which we should be able to lose him in the trees and still survive. It was lucky that we used the survivalist though, huh?
Yeah. So one of the things you might have noticed in that first fight is that the scout actually ran away rather than being killed. There's 2 stats in combat, both your health and your morale. And there's a lot of mechanics around that in the sort of different parts of the game. But early on, the scout sort of has an advantage in that it has low morale. It can run away from fights that units with higher morale would just stay and get killed.
Yeah, in general,
but that also makes it not great necessarily as a stand-up fighting unit.
If you see generally speaking, when a unit's morale and its health are similar, if this guy was 50, that kind of signifies that they'll fight to the death. It's not always the case, but that's what that is generally the way that you can look at it.
Yeah, because most times you take the same amount of damage to your health and your morale.
Yeah. So we have.
All right. And we should have won the other fight, I bet, in the forest.
Yeah, we should have. And this one, we know what happened there, so I'm just gonna not do this one, and let's go take a look at the one we have.
Or you can right-click those to dismiss them, I believe. I'm not sure if that's in the demo.
It's not the demo, but that's why I was trying to do it on. I was trying to do it on the other one too, but now you can just straight up right-click those and they go away.
I think you can at least right-click the game alert on the right. I think, but Either way.
Yeah.
See that? So it looks like we won, but not by a lot.
We did, and so we'll take our chances here because we definitely have.
Yeah. So now, if you did want to watch that fight and you already dismissed it, you can go to the game log and actually watch some of those fights after the fact.
So if you wanted to figure out how stuff works.
Yeah.
Right.
And we don't keep those fights forever. You can't go back more than a few turns in the
Yeah, we'll get this.
Yeah. Yeah, because the leader is nice, but unless he's got crossbows, there's not much they can do against us.
And he's gonna stay alive, but.
Yeah, so note that a lot of those units had lost their morale in the previous battle, so they didn't even get to start in this battle, so we just mowed them down.
Alright. Making me work for it, Rome. Hey! Sucked to come all that way to get killed.
Very sad tale for that scout.
Man, they do kick out a bunch of armies, though, huh?
Well, they got what's that, a berserker?
Yeah. H-blood units. Keep moving, buddy. Oh, look at that. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, we could be taking some of these miners for sure, I think, if we wanted to consolidate our southern armies, but probably best to defend against that that barbarian who showed up.
Let's do... So...
Yeah, we've got plenty of warfare XP.
What was I doing? Reinforcements. Volunteers.
Do volunteers, yeah.
Now we have Berserker.
So volunteers is one of the sort of like an evergreen power you keep throughout the whole game, but the kinds of units you get will get better later in the game.
So Berserker, and you can see morale there at 999. Berserker never ever breaks, no matter what occurs, and has a good 300% attack against line type unit, which just so happens to be what our little barbarian warlord is. So that shouldn't end well.
So you see, it's a 22 against a 44, but I think this is going to go pretty well for us. Yeah. So you can't always just rely on the summary numbers. Well, though, he did take us out. So.
He got lucky on the last one and got initiative, so he went last and then first.
Yeah. But even so,
it was only
that one unit almost took out that barbarian warlord by himself.
It was only because I ran my mouth. We got killed.
Yeah. Don't taunt before rolling.
I know this is going to hurt because I see those in there. So normally we would, around this time, you were going to start, I guess not right in here. I was going to say you're going to start thinking about getting Siege rolling up.
Well, he didn't build any walls here yet, so I think.
Right, but look at this. We're starting to get like owned by. This is not going well.
Yeah. Well, and here they've got the tactics bonus, right? That leader is giving them a 10% boost against us.
So I mean, I'm used to using these guys to do to just pump out as many of them as you can.
That crossbow is just annihilating.
It's like enjoy your advantage until now.
Yeah, I mean,
we got
we've got some replacements for those troops.
That wasn't a good trade-off there.
It was not a great trade-off.
We might want to
At 130 up top really ought to be able to put some smack down on them.
Yeah.
But I would suggest we pull it out and heal it.
Yeah.
First.
I think we ought to be able to.
You could also take that level 3 raider and turn him into a leader. I think you can turn raiders into leaders. I'm not. There are some types of units that you can't turn into leaders.
Look, he's got a friend here.
I said you're right. I don't think the raiders can turn into leaders.
All right, so I'm glad we took the naval the boat building, shipbuilding, like you suggested.
Yeah, it can. Even on continents, there's definitely times where it can give you a pretty significant tactical advantage.
Oh, this is gonna suck. Let's have these guys hang out just outside till they heal up, and we can get everybody in at once, huh?
Yeah. We've got enough warfare to heal him up right away if you wanted to. That 130 stack.
All right. Get the healing. Fight anything.
Yeah, don't fight transport. Transport.
Why not? We're a warlike people, Rob.
We are very warlike people. All right, we've got enough government to maybe do something. Buy some of these kingdom upgrades.
We definitely do not need to create settlers at this point.
No, we do not.
But envoys,
Yeah. I mean, envoys would let us boost our integration or grab even more of those. There are a couple miners that would be maybe more convenient to get with an envoy.
Yeah.
But really what we want to do is we want to get to that third column.
Yeah. So really nothing here. We don't care as much about. I mean, we can take immortals just so we have a backstop on the...
If we were actually caring more about the long-term growth of our empire, we would absolutely care about the long-term benefits from either of those. But
yeah, well, I jump it.
In the remaining 8 turns or whatever we have, I don't think they're going to be too decisive. 9 turns.
Where do we? Oh, we do have War Council going. All right. Oh, we didn't get the expansion tech. We went back to the warband stuff. We're close to Pioneer.
So we could do another round of public improvements and put something in on Berlin to try to get its need satisfaction up a little. Because if we can just get Berlin to 6 pop, we can start putting in houses.
All right. You want to use our engineering? Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of turns. All right, so we used public improvements, which was basically a conversion of engineering experience. It starts at 10, so it was 10 for 10 improvement points. That gets us to 19 here. So Berlin is sitting at 130% satisfaction on food. That's the only need that it has right now. We only have 1 farm going inside of Berlin, but we have space for another farm. And
now we could build a mill potentially, right?
Yeah, but we have to wait till we get to...
oh no, we actually never got mills. So, because they were Bronze Age tech that we skipped over. So,
oops. So how about another farm?
Yep.
Yeah, that will help.
Which is,
at least 150. We do have another pop there, so the sooner we can get. Now, that's kind of an illustration here too. Some of those lines, multiple farms can feed 1 mill and oven, so you end up with versus having to build 6 farms to be able to get the same capacity as 4 improvements. That's 2 more workers and 2 more tiles there. So there's some advantage, like what I just did, cheaper, getting another farm in there. But in the end, I'm going to have to take up more space. I'm going to have to take up more pop. It's going to take me more than it would be to build a more efficient line with less space. All right, who's healed up?
We probably just could keep them out of range of the... Well, I mean, he can't shoot both the North Army and the South Army, so there's no real harm in moving him up.
I just wanted these guys to heal before we rolled them.
You could force march the North one if you wanted to get them out of range and just leave him alone for 1 turn before we bring everybody back in. I don't know if that's really a great use of force march, but...
It's all right. This fight is going to hurt. You watch, a wall's going to pop up there 1 turn before
Probably. So we've got the seat of power, which you can see it's got that little mark next to it. That just indicates that it's from a specific specialization or government, showing you that that's basically a kingdom building.
Let's get it.
Probably want to upgrade the granary, but the seat of power is cool, so we should see that. The work camp helps a lot. All right, I think we have regrouped, so with a little bit of reinforcing, I think we can start closing on Mediolanum.
All right, the shock troops go first.
All right, hopefully that crossbow.
Oh, it's just
We have to survive 3 rounds with the crossbow, basically, right?
It's just so terrible.
That berserker is pretty good. Remember how that berserker we said has a great bonus against line units?
Yeah, I do remember saying that. I remember saying something like that.
Guess what we got now?
Remember the part where we were saying these guys run over everything for a little while, and then all of a sudden they
yeah, we're gonna take this though. We got more.
We're gonna take this, but it's gonna cost us, right? I mean,
yeah.
All right, who's next?
The bodies will pile up, but I remain confident that we will succeed.
They just built another. They built another town. I'm stupid.
So that's giving them 1 more militia.
Yeah, that's.
But
right.
really, they probably should have used that power for. Well, no, they have the stack limit of 3, right? They can't spawn any more units directly into Millennia. Which I'm sure I'm mangling the pronunciation of that.
This is so painful.
All right, this is maybe not quite the glorious victory that we were promised.
Really, we know how to play our game. You remember how good I was doing a couple
We're
turns
chipping
ago?
away at them, though. We're chipping away.
You watch.
You should have reinforced them first. So here, you can go through this battle. You can back it up, and then you can reinforce them.
Oh, you want me to cheat?
It's not cheating. It's just optimizing.
It's cheating. They didn't look that bad. All right, let's see if they do better.
I mean, they're still going to get the freaking...
They're still gonna
Basically, adding that berserker really has hurt us a lot, right? Because it's basically effectively like another crossbow in terms of how good it is at mowing down our line units.
Look, dude, I just want you to look at the hit points on the other side of the column. As everyone that we have is dead, and they have 1 broken leader, and everything else is going fine. You have led me astray, sir. We can take them.
Well, I did say that was our goal, not to say that we would accomplish our goal.
Yeah, this is bad.
All right, so what we really needed to do here in order to win this is bring in some archers who would dish out a little more damage directly, and or mix in some leaders.
Yes. So where we were on this, because we had played with the Raiders, the entirety of our army was set up there. We're really not mixing the army in any way, shape, or form. We're really trying to use the speed of those units to get there as quickly as possible, and put it, take as much as we can as quickly as we can before everybody else kind of catches up to.
Yeah.
Being
And
able to
that Millennia is population 8, and so while we're catching up there with Munich, I mean, it's got a pretty good economic output.
Yeah.
We were suppressing that a lot and still are with all the sieging that we're doing. But if we're forced to back off, they could, I think, reasonably rally somewhat. We have a lot of economic power overall with all these vassals.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about this, but we're definitely not gonna solve the problem.
We got 8 turns. I think with 8 turns we can muster at least 1 more attempt here.
you sir, are wrong, but we could try.
What else are you gonna spend the 8 turns on?
How many things can I use undo for? Can I undo that entire siege? We definitely don't want to fight this guy.
If you didn't take a region, you probably could undo that entire siege, but I don't think we should.
Oh, look, who's showing up to the party now?
No, you took those guys out easy.
I could take those guys out easy if there was anyone here. So we'll have to use. Oh, look, volunteers is on cooldown and Raiders is over 60. It's weird.
So what's the army composition he's got there in?
That's only warband, and.
Okay, so that's not too bad. Some regular old raiders could probably.
I can get this and then use the warfare to do a force march on it, and that'll let me get him to defend it, and I can hold.
And then you could even, I think you have enough to reinforce them as well.
Yeah, I don't really need to, but we can do that too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're going to run the risk of losing a unit if you don't, because you don't have walls there.
Yeah, I don't think he'll drive right past, so he'll probably attack there.
So you got that 93. Yeah, that's not a bad army to bring up. Also,
try to hold Byzantium. They'll probably come after the stuff that's.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to take a little bit to regroup. I don't think we're going to be counterattacked immediately.
No, I don't think he has troops to do it. Really. Where are we at? This
is the granary.
Yeah. Oh, where am I? There we go. Thank you. Oh, good.
Hey, look.
Oh, good.
We got tons of money if you want to take the weak way out.
So what would happen here? We get two in each region for all nations. I mean, that actually is probably
for all nations. So,
but not at each region. The enemy we're fighting against has one region, and we have two. So
yeah, we have two.
I mean, it's two. All right. I'm paying it. I don't want to fight those.
I mean, we've been sitting here racking up some money, so you're using it just basically to pay off the barbarian threats.
However, I do want to.
We have finally surfed that giant wave of chaos down, though, because once we hit Age of Blood, we started getting only 10 per conquest, so that helped a lot.
Do you think? Can we take this? Yeah, I'm gonna take the town just to remind him who's boss.
Just to give him a black eye. Though that meant you're sitting out there. That 82's got the crossbow in it, right?
Yeah. Oh crap! Where's my? Run away!
Yeah, if you've got the warfare to support it, hit and run is very powerful.
Yeah. Speaking of, let's get some crossbow of our own there. Spend the last of our points, I think, doing that. Let these guys heal up, because there's not. I mean, we might as well throw them into the fray, because there isn't a whole lot that they can do at this point. They're just kind of
Yeah, I mean, unless you're worried about barbarians attacking down here in the south.
Yeah.
Then.
They're not great. Their time has come and gone. What do we want to do with improvement points? We had something else we were planning. We only have 5 turns. We had something else we wanted to do with improvement points.
I mean, so we put in a farm with Munich. We never got mills. So
we didn't get the tech for it.
I think Munich probably has a spot for another farm.
We'll get the council and
let's go try to get that up.
Yep.
Yeah,
and finally expanded. So that'll help Munich if we have both of those populated. Still not.
If we've got enough, we should put another dwelling into Munich. But I don't know that we do have enough.
We don't. We need 10. Yeah. Now
you've got 21 engineering. You might be able to use your engineering points, get you over the line there.
I just don't want to get another pioneer.
That's true. That would keep you from getting another pioneer.
All right, so that'll help us a little bit. So
there we go. We're back in the green.
166. All right. Probably not the best distribution of housing, but it'll work. I'm just waiting for somebody from the other continent to roll in.
No, they really can't do that till another few ages. So
depends if there's a land bridge.
For the demo, if anybody who has ambitions of world conquest in the demo, I recommend you play either the Pangaea map or the Inland Seas map, because they do not have that same mid-game separation of the nations.
Oh, and you see him? He keeps taunting me.
I really like to put down towns. I mean, maybe too much. As a player, I like to put down towns too. So
he's clearly doing it just to upset me.
He's defended it this time.
Yeah, it's not dead, and it's a. We only have how many turns left? It's not gonna.
Three turns left.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely win this fight. This is good that I did this.
Showing off your martial prowess to the end.
Remember when I said this is my strat? I really liked it. It was the thing that I did.
Well, like I said, we got lazy and just started rolling our totally vanilla armies forward.
Hey, it's a good illustration.
Seasoned in a few leaders and a few other things, we would have done better.
It's a good illustration of how you get punished for doing that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, if we sent chariots into some of these fights instead of as the shock troops instead of raiders, we would be doing much better. Or berserkers, right? We have our own berserkers. We could get our own berserkers now if we took the tech for it.
I actually don't think those guys aren't wounded. I'm not going to risk that.
Coward.
Does Damn. It's brutal.
Hey, if we're gonna be Blood Age, we gotta lean into it.
I want to use a little levy workers here.
Oh yeah. So we never really talked about projects. Projects are basically the third kind of thing you can build in these in your regions, and it just lets you turn your production into a different resource. So in this case, we're generating some extra IP out of our production. Later on, you get the ability to turn that into wealth and science and a few other things.
You noticed, where was it, Byzantium? So, Byzantium, one of our vassals, if you saw between turns there, just put down a building. Vassals maintain themselves. Vassals develop on their own, and they're going to become worth more over time as they get more territory and as they put down their own improvements and as their population grows.
So one of the nice things is sometimes you can take a early vassal that you created, and over time it's got its own capital building stuff. So when you integrate it, you get a more complete package than if you had integrated it early on. They will also, put down their own improvements and repair them as well. And best of all, you don't need to manage their needs. So they grow at a certain rate based on the kind of territory they control, but you don't have to. They'll take care of it for you. You don't have to worry about it.
So not that we were really going to be able to enjoy it, but we just unlocked the paper maker and scriptorium.
Oh, that's good. The scriptorium doesn't suck.
We should. Doesn't really matter. Brutality.
Should get barbarism maybe for our last one.
Well, we will not. But.
Oh, that's true. In 2 turns. Yeah, I don't think you're going to research anything in 2 turns. You do have one more culture zap. That's one more set of armies we could generate. No, we're in Eureka. You're not going to get a chance to utilize the Eureka. You
What, you think I'm going to get a chance to utilize that set of armies?
Yeah, you get the more blood for the Blood Age.
All right, we'll try it your way. I'm going to raise an army. Which is closer. There we go.
So now you got some berserkers. Get those guys on the front line. Use some of your warfare to maybe promote a leader.
Can't get these guys into the same. Oh, all right. Well, we're going to war, huh?
You got technically one more turn, but so you could just chill here for 1 turn, but they'll probably punish you with a counterattack.
Let's go. I wanted the leader in that army, but oh. I was like, oh, we got a berserker, we're good. Oh.
Yeah, the militia is not great, but they're absorbing the hits.
Yeah, they're
right?
finding soaking damage to keep it from hurting the damage dealers, right?
All right, but we killed a unit and put some hurt on them there. I have faith.
Our aspirations have gone downhill here from we're gonna
taking them out.
We're gonna kick them in the shin and run away. I don't like those red X's. Doesn't make me happy.
We do have a lot of red X's, don't we?
So again, if you need any more strategy tips, let me know. All right, this is our last turn. Great Barrier Reef, that's already claimed by Rome. Another landmark, which now, upon further reflection, seems like the direction we should have gone.
So you could probably use your diplomacy to maybe get Delhi over the line and integrate it. If you want to do one more
Where are
thing
we
before we
at?
end. I think that, or actually, Kolkata is maybe a little closer. I don't remember how many points you get when you do the direct integration boost.
Let's do it.
Check out the diplomacy power there. Is it
5.
+5? So we can't do it in Delhi, but we could do it in Kolkata.
Yeah. We have the government to do it. Nope.
Oh no, we don't play the government yet.
Look what you did.
4 points short.
Yeah.
So, you know what we probably should have been doing? We probably should have been getting immortals and getting 1 million bajillion spears out of all of our vassals.
That is what we should have been doing.
If we were smarter.
If we weren't drunk on raiders, on fast-moving raiders, we would have done something smart like that.
They're addictive, those raiders.
Look at me.
Hey, see?
Yeah, because they ran away. They ran away to it.
Well, they ran away by advancing on Byzantium, which they might very well be able to take.
Not on turn 60.
That's true. They don't know that the world is ending.
We're gonna build another berserk. We're gonna build a crossbow. Not that we're gonna enjoy it, but.
All right. Still, despite our inability to kill Rome, a pretty good run.
We weren't killed. We managed to make it through the entirety of the game, and we talked about a number of points there. So
and we knocked out two enemy players.
We had a pretty good run, and we illustrated playing with the Raiders, the national spirit, pretty well, I think. Even though we totally shafted any economy at all and just entirely military.
True.
But
see, that's Millennia. You should wishlist it. Play the demo.
Play the demo. Try not to make the mistakes we just showed you. Thanks for taking the time to watch us play the game. We've really enjoyed developing. We're really happy to get a chance to get it into people's hands now, and we're looking forward to the game getting released and you being able to play it and talk to us about what you find out and what you like. So thanks again.